Hi and welcome, my friends, to the show that just never ends. And here we have Kieran. He's the one over there on the left. Wave, Kieran. Yeah, good. We've got a few things to talk about today. We've a little bit on Derby and administration. Oh, how thrilling, you might say. We've, of course, Wycombe at Milton Keynes. MK Dons. I was there for that exciting, great game. We've got a few things to discuss about penalties, I might add. Had a little influence on that game with the sending off. Steve Cooper at Nottingham Forest. Good luck, Steve Cooper, is all I can say. We're going to talk about forwards and midfield, the best forward line in the Premier League. We got talk about, because of that subject, we're going to talk about the 100 Club, Mane, Sterling and Salah, and where their careers have come from and how good they are and how they play and where they're going, in fact, which I think is really quite interesting, having looked that up. Mind you, you could say I find lots of things really interesting that aren't. The other thing is, can I just say, the person that writes up and saying roasted nuts for Christmas or something, but he seemed to prefer the whole idea of the Linders farm. I've just got to show you this for this week. This is, when I finish my coffee, I'll be having some of this. Look at that. Okay, supper's ready. Now, this is out for all the juice from our own apple tree. We've got it bottled, labelled, 74 bottles we got. And we take it to a place in Chiltern Ridge and they do it all for us. Only £140 worth of apple juice.
It's probably worth mentioning that
non-alcoholic.
No, but the context of Supper's Ready is that that's the name of our house.
Yes.
Hence why it's called that.
Absolutely. Our house is called Supper's Ready, and the best song in all the world was called Supper's Ready by Genesis, no less. Have a listen if you've got a spare 25 minutes.
That's the real reason you bought that house. Just to have that on the front. Because
that's why we bought the house.
Yeah, just because
we named the house. It wasn't called Supper's Ready when we bought it, Kieran.
When you say we, do you mean you as opposed to Mum?
Well, she bought it.
I can't imagine she particularly wants to call it Supper's Ready, though. Well, it sounds pretty good in all fairness.
Yeah. I mean, she agreed.
Yeah.
A bit like you getting the surname, the middle name Gabriel.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when I suggested, based on Peter Gabriel, the lead singer of Genesis, and when I suggested it, I'd had no thinking that she would agree, and when she said yes, it sort of rather took me by surprise, and I wasn't expecting it at all.
You know what? You should have gone with Sledgehammer.
Yes, Sledgehammer. That's. I like that. Now that was really good. That's a classic. Yeah. Okay then, Sledgehammer. Off we go then. Let's see. There are a couple of other little things I want to mention as well that you'll find really interesting, I'm sure. Kieran,
yes, mate.
I think only got one question right last week. Let's go into Kieran's quiz time. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, need a little theme tune for this.
We do. Okay. Let's put one in now. Okay, what did you think to that tune then?
Well, once you've edited it in later, maybe I'll think it's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll call that
great.
Kieran's quiz tune. All right. Okay, here we go then. Are you ready?
Yes,
Which
mate.
Premier League club did Dwight York score the most goals for?
I suppose it's going to be obvious to say United, isn't it? Should I say that? It's either that or Newcastle, I reckon. I'll go Man United.
That's a shame.
Was it Newcastle?
No, it's Aston Villa.
No.
So we're off to a bad start, Kieran.
How am I supposed to know about Dwight York?
Talking of Aston Villa, which player has scored the most goals for Aston Villa in the Premier League?
Oh, mate. We're off to a bad start, aren't we?
We are, because I'm never going to pronounce this.
You're not going to pronounce it.
I think I'll just get my head around it. Sorry?
Agbonlahor?
You're correct. Yeah. And guess what his first name is?
Gabriel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kieran is your middle name. Do you know what? I bet that's really embarrassed you now, is it? Do any of your friends watch this apart from Ben?
No, it's one of the first things that I tell people, don't worry. It kind of
get you a t-shirt at Christmas with Gabriel 2 written on it for Christmas.
Yeah. It kind of gets them to laugh at me, and I think they're laughing with me, and then therefore I make friends, and that's how it works.
That's how you make friends, by using that?
by embarrassing myself.
Right.
And then they realise later on that I'm actually okay.
Do you know that's how you make friends? That's really sad.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
I can't use my own personality.
Okay.
Well.
Okay, off we go then. So you've got one right. So you've caught up with last week's.
Yeah.
Okay, which Argentinian player has made the most appearances in the Premier League?
Zabaleta.
You're correct. You've doubled your score on last week. Okay, which Peruvian player has made the most appearances in the Premier League?
That can't be a question. Peru. No idea. Sanchez. He's not even Peruvian.
Solano.
Oh, was he the one who played for Middlesbrough?
Must be.
He's quite famous, I think. I would never have known he's Peruvian.
And last but not least, which Premier League club did Netherlands international Brian Roy play for?
Brian Roy.
That's a difficult question, that is. This is nasty, isn't it?
It is. Mate, Peru and Brian Roy. How am I supposed to know that? For some reason, Fulham is in my head.
I was going to say not far away in the they're almost in the same breadth of types of team and where they are. No, it's Nottingham Forest.
Oh, barely a Premier League club. Only just.
Well, that's I suppose. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that was 3, wasn't it?
Was it 3? I think it was 2. I think it was 2.
Well, I suppose that's double on last week. So we'll take that, won't we?
Some of those questions were harsh, I think.
They aren't easy, are they? Yeah, but do you want easy questions?
No.
Yeah.
It'd be boring like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So do we put some music in here to say the end of the quiz show?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can put some unhappy music because it didn't do very well.
Some sad music.
Yeah.
Now. Okay, there we go. And now for a laugh. Shall we have a laugh?
Why not? What, a derby?
No, some general football and what they didn't learn at school. And comments that footballers make that are really, really quite amusing, I think. Here's one from Jamie Redknapp. These are just comments they make. I just thought these were really funny. The ball was coming down like a butterfly with sore feet.
Right.
Alex Ferguson. As with every young player these days, Ronaldo is 18. David Platt, Michael Owen is irreplaceable, but Sven has Emil Heskey, James Beattie, Wayne Rooney and Darius Vassell, and whoever he picks can do the job. But here's the ones I really like. David Beckham, right? Now, you wonder what all these players are doing at school apart from practicing football, because they certainly didn't go to English. And here we go. David Beckham. Maths is totally done differently to what I was taught when I was at school.
Oh, nice. Well done, David.
Oh, that's great, isn't it? Steve Claridge, who may have gone to the same school as David Beckham. I'd love the person who taught Jose Mourinho English to taught me. Laurie McMenemy. When you are a 4-0 up, you should never lose 7-1. Des Lynam. Rail's second goal made it 3-0. And Mitchell Thomas. All that remains is for a few dots and commas to be crossed. And with that, we'll leave that for now. But
I'm very surprised you haven't had Michael Owen in there, because he's come up with some cracking ones over the years.
Michael Owen, I've got a good Kevin Keegan one. Chile have 3 options. They could win or they could lose. Mark Lawrenson. Ireland would give 99%, and that's everything they've got. There's loads of these daft comments, but they all make daft comments, don't they, to be fair? And don't we all?
I was going to say, people probably think we make daft comments on here.
Yeah. Please put one of my daft comments up. If you hear me make a daft... No, don't put it all. I mean, just pick one, okay? If you think some of my bad English doesn't make sense or whatever.
I don't think someone's going to just write a transcript of this whole podcast and just put it underneath.
Just to mention that Sky Sports put a whole power rankings thing together of players, and they've given them points. They give them points for different things. I thought you'd be interested to know that Mohamed Salah is ranked first.
I know.
Alisson is ranked second. Alonso is ranked third. Silva ranked fourth. And Lukaku ranked fifth. Mane ranked sixth.
For the
Liverpool and Chelsea.
Which Silva is that?
That's Thiago.
Oh, right.
And we don't come to a Manchester City or Manchester United player until 7th, where Edison finds his way through the door. I know. And the first Manchester United player is Fernandes at 10th.
Oh, I'm sure he won't be on there this week, will he?
I think not. And we will come to that, of course. We must come to that at some point. Now, why are you done with my note? Oh, it's under there.
I want to come to that. That'll be great.
Oh, yes, we will come to that. Wycombe Wanderers. Milton Keynes. Here we go then. Milton Keynes, what happened? Well, first of all, the journey. The journey, yes, off we left at 11:15 again. It's Milton Keynes, so we didn't get quite as long in the pub, only an hour and a half. It's a shame, because we could have done longer in the pub this time to cope with the game, to be perfectly blunt about it. The pub was a strange one. You had to go through one door, another door, another door, another door, and another door. We were all invited in, the whole coach load of fans, and put on a table, they come round and took orders. They'd already taken the orders for the food on the coach, and they just started bringing it out. And someone said, "Are we paying for this?" Just out of interest. And they'd put it on a tab. And you saw when they told the person who was dealing with the day on the coach, being told it's a tab, then their sort of faces dropped, because how are they going to take people's money? I mean, it was just so funny. So, of course, they then had to change that. And before we left, there was a whole queue of people telling them what they'd bought and what they hadn't bought. And, of course, there was this sort of, 20 quid that wasn't paid for that people didn't own up to. I mean,
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often, that they just cock that sort of thing up.
It was funny. It was funny. The food was really nice, but the beer was a bit of a stinker, I have to say. Not my idea of fun beer.
Fun.
No. But then off we go to Milton Keynes. Now, I have to say, I don't know if we have any Milton Keynes fans watching. Hated your stadium. Absolutely hated your stadium. As you were right, it's a whopping car park, a really big, nice looking stadium. Modern, of course it's modern. It's where Wimbledon packed their bags and did a runner to save themselves face and money, which was disgusting at the time. Talking of which, actually, one of the things I didn't mention, so I might as well do that now, was all that stuff on football on this day on the 27th and 30th. So it's around this week. And I'll come back to some of that. But actually, on the 27th of September, which is tomorrow, Monday, is following their much criticised move from South London, Wimbledon played their first home league match at the National Hockey Stadium in Milton Keynes, drawing 2-2 with Burnley. They didn't change their name to MK Dons until the start of the 2004-05 season. But anyway, that's just to say that's what happened on that day. But yeah, so all around the outside are all these tons of McDonald's and pizza places, all these shops and stuff. And you get in, and I took a photograph when I got in, because I don't know how many is the capacity of that stadium, but I've always said that places like that will always feel half empty rather than half full. I was shocked when they read out that there were over 9,000 people in there, because I would have said you were lucky to have 2,000, because that's what it felt like.
Well, it's 30,500.
So it was less than a third full. And that is what it felt like, empty, even though they had twice as many as Wycombe get when it feels full. I mean, and it doesn't help.
They should know that based off like where people live as well. It's not like there's going to be 30,000 people from Milton Keynes going to Milton Keynes Dons games, are there?
I presume they might use it for other things. And with all the shops that are outside, I mean, when we left, there wasn't queues, because it's made for 30,000 people to leave. So when you've only got 9,000 people leaving, it doesn't feel like anything. So it's when you walk out, you don't even bump into anybody. It is a really strange feeling. It's empty, is what it felt like. There was no atmosphere in there whatsoever, apart from this little huddle of Wycombe fans who created all the atmosphere. And when I watched some stuff on the YouTube last night from one of the Wimbledon MK Dons fans, you could hear them singing the MK Dons. I didn't hear any of them in the stadium because it just echoes empty. So just to say, thank goodness I don't go there, because I wouldn't want to. Awful place. Although it's nice, it's just empty.
Well, I mean, Wycombe's always feels decently full, even though it's never half full, doesn't it?
It's usually half full.
There or thereabouts. Like it used to be about 4K would be the average, wouldn't it? And our capacity's 10. But it always feels like there's a lot of people there, doesn't it?
It does. And the way in and out is always sort of, I no, I wouldn't know. I thought that was, it's hardly an experience, I have to say. You don't feel like you're going to sort of a big event in any form or fashion. You feel like you're one in a million. It's a very, very strange place. One's a very odd place. But the actual game, Wycombe held their own, okay, to start with. We had a few chances, they had a few chances, and then there was this terrible tackle. Now, at this point, I just want to show you what is a terrible tackle, and I'm going to show you this. It is the worst tackle. And this guy, remember, gets a yellow card, and this was just a couple of weeks ago. And so, yeah. So please look at this. Okay, that was a yellow card. Now look at, I think you can see the highlights of the MK Dons versus Wycombe on YouTube. You can watch them. Now, first of all, what happens with the penalty is the player, I believe, was offside. Can't prove it because the camera angle, and when it catches him, he is never in the same shot as the person who kicks the ball. But my impression, and I was sat at that end on the corner, my impression was straight away, I looked at the linesman for the flag to go up. It didn't go up. And I thought, he'll wait until. I looked then back at the game. Stewart came in with a tackle. He went for the ball, not the player, and caught the player. Okay. Referee didn't give it. Linesman flagged. Referee goes over to the linesman. He gives the penalty and sends Stewart off. He sends Stewart off, get this, for pushing him. He doesn't push him. No. And the law was changed this year in the summer about penalties and red cards. And the law changed that if you are going for the ball, then, and you give a penalty away, you do not get a red card, you get a yellow.
It's a double punishment thing, isn't it?
It is. That they don't want you to lose a player, lose a goal, and lose a player for 3 games. They feel that is over punishment. So they do not send the player off. It is now a yellow card, not a red, if the player is actually trying to go for the ball, not the player. And I'm sorry, but you watch that, and there is no way he's going for the player.
It is kind of like the example they would use when they're teaching the referees this rule, isn't it? Like, you explain it to them and then you provide an example. It's like, this player has gone for the ball, but he's caught the man. Therefore, it's a penalty, but it's only a yellow card. Whereas this referee, for some reason, has decided that it's a red. I don't know, obviously because he thinks he's pushed him, which would warrant a red.
The linesman got it wrong. The linesman told him that. I
don't know whether he was offside, because he's obviously difficult to see on the thing.
I can't say for 100% sure that he was offside.
He does look kind of onside, but it is obviously difficult to tell.
Yeah.
It would have been close.
I thought it was instantly before the tackle took place.
Yeah.
And as soon as he went in with the tackle, I thought, penalty. That's a penalty.
Yeah, which is fine. We're not complaining that it was a penalty.
It was a penalty.
Our goal was offside. The one that Tafazoli scored, that was offside. So you could see that.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? Oh yeah, the penalty itself. This is just going off of what I've seen on the highlights. I thought it was a bit obvious, and I don't mean to be dickhead to Stockdale,
No,
but
please.
it it was obvious where the player was going to go. I felt, and I feel like he could have read that. He didn't. What he didn't. He went to the opposite direction. It was a bit like, obviously he's a League One goalkeeper, and penalties can, they can go anywhere. The player can just decide that whenever he wants. But I felt like he could have done a little bit better.
It's funny. I thought Allsop was always a better penalty stopper. I always thought that we always stood a chance of saving penalties with Allsop.
Did we not always think that Allsop was generally maybe a better goalkeeper? I personally felt that.
Not a better footballer.
No,
we're not with his feet, the passing out and all that. But depending, well, I don't know.
I don't think there's a huge difference. I don't think it makes a difference to Wycombe as if they're to go up or down or win or lose a game. But I feel like I liked Allsop when he was in the Championship, especially. I thought he was very good.
But I think we have lost more than that game based on that red card. We lost that game because of the red card. Wycombe, I mean, if you think they play great football, I was really impressed with Milton Keynes, I'll be honest. I thought we were going to have trouble taking a result away from Milton Keynes after 20 minutes. So before anything happened, I was thinking if we go home with a point, I'd be more than happy with that. We're going to find this tough, but we've got enough to deal with it. Okay. And what happened was we go in 1-0 down and one player down at exactly the same time, surprise, surprise, because of the red card and penalty in the first half. Now we've got to get a goal back without our best defender.
Arguably, yeah.
And then, of course, that line of 4 go into a line of 3, and they didn't score. They really only threatened Wycombe's goal once, and that was a dive that was 4 foot off the ground that you would expect Stockdale to save every day of the week. I didn't move in my seat. I was never felt we were threatened with Milton Keynes scoring a goal.
All the highlights.
Had a couple of little chances that you just sort of, that could have been it. That didn't quite happen.
I think that it was the one, I think it's Vokes, I'm not sure, who's about 12 yards out. This is before the penalty or the red cards. He's about 12 yards out and hits it straight at the goalkeeper.
Yes.
And it's one of those where it's like, that will come back to bite us. And some of those chances that we had beforehand.
Put one just over the top.
Just over, yeah. So unfortunately, it's one of those that on another day we win probably comfortably. Because if we score one of those chances, then the red card probably doesn't happen. The penalty doesn't happen. So yeah, it's one of those where you rue your missed chances.
So I wouldn't have been fussed with them being 1-0 up with us with 11 players on the pitch. I would have still thought we were going to come home with a draw. But that really did not help. And I thought they then... I thought the fact that after that penalty, they couldn't score a goal when we just lost our best defender tells you something about Wycombe Wanderers. I mean,
who was at centre back then when we went to a back 4? Did we go to a back 4?
No, we went to a back 3.
Well, so it was Jacobson, Tafazoli, and
Grimmer.
Oh, and then did we still have 2 wing backs then, or did we just have a midfield 4? No.
We just must have used the back line, mustn't we? Have 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that probably made a bit more sense.
Yeah. Sorry. But there you go. What can you do? You know, that's it. It'll go the other way at a game later on, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think because we're not too high up in the table, maybe not as high as we may have been expecting. I think we need to go on a bit of a run soon, like
Yes.
four or five in a row, so that we can get up into that kind of like top 4 or 5.
Yeah. This
and
was
be-
always going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
As it was Oxford away. Those 2 games were always going to be difficult picking points up. But they're done now. So we'll wait and see. I mean, who do we get next? Can't remember. He says, leaning over. Morecambe, is it? No. Yeah, Morecambe. Oh, we've got a game on Tuesday as well, haven't we?
Do we?
Yeah, I think that one's away. See, this is going to be the problem with our mate sent off. He might be putting a claim in for that one, I think, to try and...
I would have thought so.
Yeah, because to lose him for 3 games is, that's the 3rd penalty from that one tackle. And that isn't good.
Yeah, it's Shrewsbury away on Tuesday and then Morecambe at home on Saturday.
Okay.
Preferably 2 wins from that, I'll be honest with you.
Yes.
Because they are bottom 12, I think.
Yeah.
Both of those.
Okay. Let's just finish off football on this day. But there were 2 other things I wanted to mention. One was we woke up on the 27th of September, way ago, to find out that Sam Allardyce, the England manager, he was making the front page headlines in the Daily Telegraph in a newspaper sting. He had been filmed advising undercover reporters how to get around FA rules on third-party ownership of footballers, criticising his predecessor, Roy Hodgson, and the England players, and arranging a £400,000 a year speaking engagement contract. By the end of the day, by mutual consent, he was the ex-England manager, losing his £3 million a year job after just 67 days. Mind you, he does have a 100% record as the England manager.
It's pretty mad that he actually got the job, thinking back to it, isn't it?
I think
because
the word you're looking for.
Yeah, because people either loved him or hated him.
Yeah.
And the only reason
we'd had Roy Hodgson beforehand, so anything was better than Roy Hodgson.
Yeah.
Okay, and the other one was football on this day on the 30th of September in 2006. Manchester City bad boy, Joey Barton, oh, don't we know him, was in the headlines again when he bared his backside to Everton fans after a 1-1 Premier League draw at Goodison. He later received a warning. What's that? A Mooney? Sort of, how do you receive a warning? Don't you go showing your bottom to other... And he received a £2,000 fine. I just want to know, did he have to write 100 lines? I will not bare my backside to other fans.
Write an apology. Yeah.
I thought that was a bit of a funny thing to warn people about. Don't you go taking your trousers down in front of people. There we go.
What a hero.
Yeah. And just to jump in with the next little topic, administration, Derby. A few points lost there, I believe.
Or Wayne.
Yes, finds out all about it looking at Sky News, didn't he? Wasn't even told. He's not a happy bunny, I don't think, Mr. Wayne Rooney. Not a happy bunny. Derby just keep... what a bunch of wallies. They just kept kicking the problem down the road for years. And now it's going to go whoosh, and it's going to knock them flying down, isn't it? Because they could lose 21 points. They've lost 12. The next 9 is being discussed because of all the financial problems on how they fiddled the books. And they could lose the next 3 if they don't pay players on time. So they could be up for a 21-point loss. So they can pack in the season straight away.
Are you going to mention how we could launch legal action against the relegation?
Yes. Well, what do they rank? 20 million or something?
Quite a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's worth a go, don't you?
Well, because reading it to begin with, I thought it was against Derby, and I thought that's a bit harsh. They're evidently in the mud. But it's not, is it? It's against... Actually, I don't really know who it's against. I don't know where we get the 20 million from.
Okay.
The Football League, I guess?
Now, I haven't really got this, all right? I did try looking it up, what administration was, and I sort of got it, but I haven't quite. So I might have to do a little bit more study of what this actually means. He says, trying to search for his notes on this. What happens with administration? What have you done with all my notes? Oh, here we go. Right. When a club goes into administration, okay, there's 3 things they have to try and do. Their first priority, what they do is they hand the club over to the administrators, who are now going to dissect everything and take everything apart and have a look at what they've got and what they haven't got. And the first thing they have to look at is rescuing the company, keeping them above water. Okay. The second is to try and make sure they don't go into liquidation. So make sure they don't sink below in negative. And then they have to try and pay all the money owed, including the staff, in full. And that would be Wycombe Wanderers if we are successful. So where they choose the money to go, we would be on that list before they start paying for other bits and pieces. They would have to pay people and those they owe, and that includes the people in the work at Derby, the cooks and all that. Okay. Now remember, they're not the only team to have done this. Bury went into liquidation. Bolton went into administration and had a 12-point deduction. But the way it works is if you go into administration before the 3rd of March, you get the 12 points deducted that season you're playing. If you get after the 3rd of March, then you get the points taken away from next year. Okay. So there's the 3rd of March is the date where you choose which year you lose your 12 points from. So the owner has put it into liquidation now to lose the points now. So how did Derby then rescue this? Well, it works out of what money's coming in and what money is going out. So you look at how much the players earn, etc. And the administrators then have to look on who they have to pay. And after 14 days into administration, you have to pay the staff, you have to pay your national insurance and VAT. But also you have to prove to the EFL that you're good to stay afloat for the next 3 years. The problem Derby have is the amount they owe. So they go on sale, and so they will bring in owners is what they want, but the person that buys it will probably buy it for 5 pence. But they will also buy all the problems. So it won't cost them anything to buy the club, but it will cost them in paying people off. Now, the problem with Derby is they will be owing about 90 million. So if you're somebody who looks at, quite fancy owning a football team, why would you choose Derby and go into the red by about 90 million instantly? I mean, it'll take about a year. I mean, this is looking at how it ticks over. You wouldn't have to pay out 90 million instantly, but you'll be paying out millions instantly and over a period of about a year. Derby, they reckon, is cost you about 90 million. So you ain't going to make money, but then people never do make money out of football teams. But you don't start. I mean, the owners of Wycombe did not start 90 million in the red.
No.
And the problem, they won't be able to afford players. So what's going to happen to Derby, unless they're bought by a petrol-owning oil sheik, is that they will probably be in Division 2 fairly quickly.
Yeah, it requires a very rich Derby fan to come in and buy them, doesn't it? Essentially.
It does. It does. Because you haven't got a hope.
No.
See, a lot of these clubs are bought out by the fans to keep them afloat. But it doesn't cost 90 million.
No. How have they gone 90 million deep? That's insane.
Because, do you know, there's another company just about to lose points as well, or have done, and that's Reading. Reading, for every £100 they've made, they've actually spent £211 on wages alone, let alone everything else. 200%.
Mm.
So for every pound I give them as I go through the turnstile, they're spending £2 on players' wages. That's players' wages alone.
Yeah.
And in the Championship, the average turnover is 108%. So then none of them are looking after themselves. They're all getting further and further into the red. It's not just them. Now, Mel Morris, the owner of Derby, blamed COVID, but this has been going on for years. Do you know who's paying for the away games at the moment for them so they can afford to get on a coach to travel? And who pays for the hotel? Wayne Rooney is paying that out of his own money. Yeah, he's paying for the hotels and the coaches. And I mean,
you don't get the impression that many football clubs are run decently because when they announce their annual profits or loss, Man United always come out and say they've made a £50 million loss. Yeah. I know to them it doesn't matter because I assume the Glazers have billions upon billions, but they always come out with a loss. I can't remember the last time they've made a profit.
No. Do you know, Luton have mentioned a couple of times because they're we're Luton, we're all right. A bit like we do with Wycombe, I suppose. I mean, we do a little bit. We're proud of our football team and the way it's run. And Luton are. But a few years ago, they went into administration as well. Mm. Let me tell you a few that have been in liquidation. Okay. This is since 1983. Okay, so in less than 40 years, I'll read you the names. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Deep breath. Bradford City, Charlton Athletic, Middlesbrough, Tranmere, Newport, Walsall, Northampton, Kettering, Aldershot, Maidstone, Hartlepool, Barnet, Exeter, Gillingham, Doncaster, Millwall, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Chester, Portsmouth, Hull, Queen's Park Rangers, Bury, Halifax, Bradford, Notts County, Barnsley, Leicester, Port Vale, York City, Derby County, again. Ipswich, Wimbledon, Darlington, Bradford, Wrexham, Cambridge, Rotherham, Crawley, Boston, Leeds, Luton, Bournemouth twice, Rotherham, Halifax, Darlington, Southampton, Stockport, Chester, Northwich, Victoria, Farnsley Celtic, Sainsbury, Weymouth, Crystal Palace, Portsmouth again, Plymouth, Rushden Diamonds, Darlington, Portsmouth again, Port Vale, Coventry, Aldershot, Bolton, Bury, Ryle, Wigan, Bury, and Derby.
It's mad the number of clubs that you said more than once there. I counted 3 Bradford, 3 Portsmouth, Darlington, I think, came up 2 or 3 times.
Bournemouth twice.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, isn't that mad? I mean, it's Portsmouth 210,
Is it,
2010 and 2012.
is that into administration, not liquidation?
This
That's
is
into,
administration, not liquidation.
yeah. It's still mad though, isn't it?
I mean, but you see, they weren't deducted any points in all of that lot until 2006, when they started to abduct. They used to take away 10, 6, 15, 17. There was no rule. But 2006, they started looking at taking away points. But up till then, they just got away with it, sort of. But of course, it depends on, I mean, it's just mad. And it's about time the EFL sorted this out. But how do you sort it out? It's very difficult, because who wants to own a football club? How do you check out who wants to own a football club? That they're okay.
Can't.
I mean, Mel Morris is a businessman. What's wrong with him? These are business owners. Why can't they run a football club?
I wouldn't have thought running a football club is the most difficult business to run either.
Well, there's only so many ways money comes in. It depends
how much it's dictated off of results and how well the team is playing.
This is it. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's got bugger all to do with how well you run the club, how nice the shirts are, how great the shop is, what the stadium looks like, how nice the grass is on the pitch. It's about 11 players, the ref not giving that player the red card, and you lose the 3 points and you don't go up. Now, Derby...
There's far too much of football based upon that, isn't there?
Aston Villa and Derby, a year or two ago in the playoff final, yeah, Aston Villa were in the same spot as Derby money-wise. And both teams had thrown the whole lot in for that season to get up. And the team that got up was saved. And the team that didn't go up crumbled. And it could have easily been the other way round. It was one game of football on who went up to the Premier League. So it's that needs looking at. It's all the parachute payments. It's Bournemouth have been in there twice, but managed to then get up. See? So they were lobbing it in for years and went into administration, lobbed the money in, went into administration, lobbed the money in, and then went up. Now they've come down with a parachute payment and want to go back up. But you look how much their players are earning. You look how big the stadium is, how many people are coming in. Because it ain't that's going to give them the money. It's going up.
Yeah, I mean, their stadium's small, isn't it, Bournemouth?
Yeah. Not much bigger than Wycombe's.
No.
So it's that, isn't it? It's the incentive of going up. So how do you control that?
You can't really. Well, I'm sure there probably is a way, but you can't say, let's get 5 teams promoted instead of 3.
What about if the payments were not equal, but the payments that came down through the league came down at sensible steps all the way down from 1st to 92nd?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I don't know how much it actually influences the teams at the top of the Premier League if they actually win it. Because I can't imagine that Man City will earn too much if they actually win the Premier League from winning the Premier League.
No.
It matters more to, let's say, Crystal Palace if they come 10th than it does to Man City if they come
position,
first.
the money they earn from their position in the Premier League. And if they can get into Europe.
Yeah.
And the further you go through the European competition, you rake the money in. So you're better off. You'll be better off money-wise coming sixth and getting knocked out in the semi-final in Europe than you were coming first and getting knocked out in the first round.
Yeah. Doesn't make too much sense, does it?
No. And so at least in our league, it's got to be so that if you come fourth in the championship, the team that comes sixth will sort of not be that far behind. So next year they can come fifth, and the year after that they can come fourth, and slowly build up or slowly go down. And it's that, isn't it? It's the fact you can get knocked out. It's the fact that you can go out of the Football League. It's the fact that you can go out of the Premier League means 3 teams risk 1 place. It's a gamble. And so what are the penalties? The penalties are pretty big, but who loses? The fans lose. Sorry, Derby fans. Paul, I know you hate them now, but that's the way it is. And I'm afraid unless they do anything, it will just keep happening. That list will just grow again in the next 20 years. It'll be even longer because the rewards are even bigger today than they were.
That's a shame, isn't it?
It's killing it off, isn't it? I talk of killing it off. I've got to mention this because I was a nice little bit of interesting fact for you here. Did you know Messi is no longer playing in one of the top 5 football leagues in Europe?
Not at the moment.
No.
Well, supposedly he does still, because it changes next year. It's something very strange and very stupid.
Yes, Portugal have overtaken the French league, haven't they?
Yeah.
So the top 5 of the Premier League, the Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, and Portugal's, I can't remember what it's called.
It's like, it sounds weird, but it's like League Nos or something.
Is it? Right.
Yeah.
So I thought
everything means something different in that country than it does.
So Liga 1 in France is being dropping out of the 5.
Well, I mean, it's not even just Messi, is it? It's Neymar and Mbappe.
Yeah, but I believe.
Speaking of which,
Go on.
No, Mbappe and Neymar had an argument at the weekend.
Did they?
Yeah. Because apparently Neymar. Hello.
What, were you there?
Yeah.
Good.
Where? Oh, what?
No, were you there at the argument?
Oh no, I thought you couldn't see me on the screen. No. No, apparently Neymar doesn't pass to Mbappe anymore.
Does he not?
No.
Horrible boy.
It's not very nice, is it?
No. A bit like, a little bit like our friend up front for Manchester United. What's that? The horrible one on the right, young boy. Greenwood. Yes.
Oh, you do not like Greenwood?
Oh, I think he's brilliant, but he's the most selfish player on a football pitch. And did he annoy Ronaldo with not passing the ball? Strength.
I can't imagine Ronaldo was too happy with Fernandes either.
Oh, we're going to come to that. We'll come to that. But I'm going to give you a chance to have a little chit chat with me. We're going to do the midfield. Okay, I want you to discuss and tell me which Premier League team then has the best midfield. I can't remember where we come with goalkeeper and back.
Didn't goalkeeper did we say Martinez for Aston Villa?
We did, Aston Villa, that's right.
And then we said Liverpool for
at the back.
The defence. But based off yesterday, might have to change that.
Yeah.
Midfield.
Yeah, who's got the best midfield? Discuss players with me.
Well, I've just got a table up just so I remember all the teams. It's definitely not Spurs because they're rubbish. Arsenal's midfield was pretty good today, but it's not them because half the time they are awful.
Well, only the
Um,
first half
Only
of
the
the
first
season.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah. West Ham, they have Declan Rice, but that's about it.
Don't
I
like
can't.
Declan Rice.
You don't.
No,
I think he's a bit overrated as well.
I don't think he's a footballer. I think he's a robot.
Well, he's a sideways merchant.
No, I just think he's been told what to do.
Mm.
I don't think, and
He doesn't think for himself.
No, he just kicks out.
Fair. I don't think he's as good as everyone hypes him up to be.
No, I worry about him.
But I think he will go to a big club at some point, and I'm not sure he'll be what people are after.
I like to discuss the lower ones because I know it's easy.
I know you do.
Probably
I'm trying to go
pick one of the. What about Leeds?
That's why I mentioned Spurs.
What about Leeds?
Their midfield.
Yeah.
They're 18th for the moment, Leeds.
I know, but that's not entirely the midfield's fault.
I'm just going on to their last game. They lost to West Ham on the weekend, just so I can get out their team. Who have they got in midfield? They have Calvin Phillips, who you could liken to Declan Rice if you want to say about passing side. He's better for Leeds than he is for England, in saying that. Rafinha, very good.
Yeah,
he'll go to a big team soon. He's like I liken him to Saint Maximan.
He has
Newcastle.
a good yeah.
Dallas always seems to pop up with goals here and there. Klitsch, I don't know too much about, if I'm honest.
No, I know the other three.
Jack Harrison does very well as well for Leeds.
Just going to have a little sip of my suppers ready.
Dear me. Yeah, Leeds midfield I liked Wolves' midfield last season.
Wolves.
They had Neves and Moutinho, Dendoncker. That midfield three was always very good. But this season they're not doing too well, are they?
Well, didn't they win?
Leicester is a name for a midfield, especially last season again. But they're 13th at the moment. Leicester, they're not doing very well. And Ndidi, Tielemans, and Maddison's midfield is very good.
Maddison's
not. They booed Maddison the weekend, didn't they?
Did they?
Fans. Right. Yeah, because they think he's not trying hard enough and he wants to go somewhere else.
Right. Oh dear.
It's similar to Kane today.
We can get. We'll come to those games. Let's just not. It's not Kane.
Yeah. If we come to the midfields that are really in the running for the best one in the league,
do you not think Leeds are in the running? You say no.
I think you could argue Leeds are in the running.
Things in there.
If this was last season, I'd say Leicester would be in the running, but based on this season, they are poor. Leeds can be in the running. United, no, because they still start with Fred and McTominay. Chelsea,
that's their problem. The midfield is Man United's problem.
Yeah. I don't understand why I didn't fix it this summer. Chelsea, can say Jorginho, who won the Player of the Year somehow. Kovacic, it's all right. Man City, is it going to be Man City? It might have to be, to be honest with you. I mean, to be fair, their team is literally just full of midfielders. That's all it is. They don't actually have a striker. Who have they got? Bernardo Silva, Rodri, De Bruyne, Grealish, Foden, Fernandinho.
Okay, that's answered that. Then it's
it's Man City, isn't it? Really?
It is. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Which one's the because this is what I think United's is. Well, they're lacking is any sort of holding player in that midfield. I mean they don't have that at all. Cities? Which one's City? I mean Foden.
Rodri is who sits.
Right.
I don't think he's quite as good as like Fernandinho when Fernandinho was in his prime, but he's still very decent. He's up there with Fabinho as the best in the league, I think. Liverpool's midfield is very good, but it's not consistent enough in terms of staying fit for it to be the best in the league, to be honest with you.
Okay. So are we going for Manchester City in there then?
I think we have to, yeah.
Okay. And now we come to the forwards. Now,
this one's tricky, actually.
This one is tricky. So we got Aston Villa in goal, Liverpool at the back, City midfield.
Right. Because obviously some teams only play one up top. It's like Chelsea, they have the Lukaku, or Liverpool that play three, or City who play none. It's definitely not Man City.
You're not going to put Tottenham there.
Tottenham in their prime could have been up there. A Son, Kane, and who else do they have? Maybe Bale from last season.
You have to say, though, that United stand a chance with this one.
You can't,
Don't they?
Ronaldo, Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho.
And the other bloke who'd be retiring probably at the end of this year.
Cavani.
That's it.
Yeah, they are definitely in with a shout.
They are, aren't they?
I just say I did not mention their actual number 9, who's Martial. He is.
I have to tell you something about him, but I won't. No, I will. It's all right.
Can't say that.
Did you know? He said, quickly going through his notes to find it, that Mane almost went to Manchester United instead of Liverpool.
Yeah.
And they chose not to buy him and buy Martial instead.
Good job, lads.
They picked Martial instead of. And the point that was going to bring up was how teams mould players. And would Mane be crap now at Manchester United, and our little French player who is crap, would he actually be any good had he gone to Klopp at Liverpool?
Potentially.
Because he had the potential, Martial, of being a really good player. You saw it sometimes, and I just wonder whether if he'd gone to Liverpool and Mane had gone to United, what the difference would be.
Isn't this what we say most of the time about Wycombe players, is that they work for Wycombe, that if they went anywhere else, they probably wouldn't. This is like why when Cowan Hall went off a couple of times after he'd been excellent for us, never ever did it for anyone else, did he?
No.
Just an example.
Yeah,
it would be interesting, wouldn't it?
So, Man United, Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea, not really.
Chelsea's just Lukaku, isn't it? You wouldn't have Werner.
No. That's right. So it's not Chelsea up front.
I think if Liverpool had one more,
like
one more who's really in form, then it could be them. Because I'd have Salah and Jota, but Mane recently has not been the one. Neither has Firmino.
Have to ask. If one of them were to leave, which is possible, which one would you prefer? Not prefer to leave, but which one do you reckon you can cope with leaving? Any of them?
Not Salah now, which has changed my mind from a year ago, because it probably would have been Salah. Definitely not Salah now. I'd probably be more at ease with Firmino leaving. He has less of a role in our team now. It's because it's always between him and Jota for whoever starts. And he's starting less and less. So I'd probably be okay with that. But it's pretty close between him and Mane.
Right.
There's been talks about Sterling coming back.
I know. That's coming up when we talk about the 100 Club. That is in my notes. So we going for Man United?
I think it's got to be Man United. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to.
Isn't that strange? Because we've got Aston Villa at the goalkeeper, Liverpool in defence, City in midfield, and United up front.
How sad is that?
What a strange combination. And
Deary me. And yet,
no Chelsea. No Chelsea.
Yeah, because on paper, Chelsea aren't that fantastic a team, but their manager and just their system make it all work.
Well, which is the best team on paper? It's Man United, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I think it has to be, doesn't it? The team that has the greatest potential and doesn't fulfill it is definitely United. Yeah. Because the only fault you can pick with it is the CDM, really.
Yeah. I was going to say, so out of these roles, where can you be weak and still win the league? Okay, because Liverpool swapped their they got their goalkeeper and
got Van Dijk,
and that was enough. Okay, but where can you be weak? Goalkeeper?
No.
I'm okay. So let's pick your 4 teams.
I have one in mind, by the way.
Okay, your 4 teams. Liverpool, City, United, and Chelsea. Who has any of them got a weak goalkeeper? Because let's see which one can't win the league because of.
I don't think. Not now. I think United did because De Gea was out of form, but I think he's doing all right now.
Okay, fullback. Can you cope without? I mean, one or both. Can you cope with just one decent one and one average?
I think you can. I think you can. I think you can win the league with one crappy fullback.
Okay. Do any of these teams have 2 crappy fullbacks?
Chelsea don't. Liverpool don't. United, I don't think are great.
So the question mark.
I think United have the weakest ones.
Okay.
City don't.
Centre back. Can you cope with one good and one not so good, or do you need 2 good and work as a team?
I think it depends how good that one is, because obviously back in back when 2018, 2019 kind of era, Virgil could carry anyone who was next to. He carried Lovren for a season. Okay,
I think you get away with one.
I think you can, but you can't have one crappy fullback and one crappy centre back. You have to have at least one decent one out of that.
Okay, so do any of these teams not have good enough centre backs?
No, I think they're all decent. You could maybe argue that Chelsea's are a little bit less.
Put a question.
But then they're
central midfielders.
United. Put a question mark next to them.
Yeah. You see, that's what Solskjaer wanted.
Yeah.
Couldn't get.
Didn't get. No.
And that is a real hole
I think people are starting to say that because of start of the season, you kind of gauge where teams are kind of at, and people are kind of dropping United out of that top four who are going for the title based on that.
Okay.
City have their midfielders, as do Chelsea. You could even argue that you could put a question mark next to Liverpool purely because they don't stay fit. They're all prone to injury.
Okay.
Apart from Milner.
You got wingers. Do you need wingers?
Chelsea don't play with wingers, but they do have decent ones if they need to. I think they're all good.
Creativity. Have they got their? All got their creative players?
United definitely do. Chelsea might not. Like someone who's going to create something out of nothing, Chelsea might not have that. You could argue Havertz, but I'm not sure he's that type of player. Who else is there? City definitely do. Liverpool don't at times if they're playing against a complete flat back 11. But then who else is going to get through that, I suppose? They do, don't Liverpool?
Okay, and last one, a prolific striker. Do any of them miss a prolific striker?
Liverpool have Salah, United have Ronaldo, Chelsea have Lukaku, City do not.
City do not. Therefore, Kieran, you have put your top four as Liverpool.
Of course I have.
City, Chelsea, United is your 1, 2, 3, 4 finish of the league. United can't cope. They've got really two gaps.
Midfield and fullbacks.
Yeah. City are missing a striker. And as much as he talks all the time about, we did it like this, we did it like that, it won't hold forever.
No, but in saying that, beating Chelsea away as convincingly as they did was very impressive.
But we've got them second.
Yeah.
Chelsea are third because they are questionable on creativity.
Yeah.
Wing backs don't really have.
I'm not a big fan of their system personally.
So they're going to come third.
Yeah.
And United, so we got United where they are, Chelsea where they see. So Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United. Do you think that's about right then?
That'll be fine by me come the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'll have that. Wouldn't say no.
So there we go, everybody. United can score lots, but boy, do they let them in. And they score lots because they get lots of penalties.
Well, they don't score the penalties anymore, do they?
United penalties. Okay, here we go. Then let's have a bit of fun. 10% of Premier League penalties last year were given to Manchester United. And Mr. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still complaining about how they're not given to Manchester United. And he blames Klopp for not getting
amazing.
Because before a game last year, back in January, I think it was, Klopp said, for every 5 penalties United are given, we only get given 1. And that's true. Actually, that is true. But we know what Klopp was suggesting. He was trying to stop the refs giving United all the penalties. But for Gunnar Solskjaer to actually complain and say we don't get them anymore is a bit unfair because since Klopp said that, they've had 2 more than they did the season before. So, in fact, since Klopp made his comment, they've been given more than before. So he can't complain that that's sort of stopped the penalties coming. Now, I was listening to this piece the other day, and it was talking on Friday about the games coming up. And I was listening to it on the coach on the way back from the football after the game of United's game. And the guy was talking about, well, we know what the score's going to be because United will get that penalty in the 94th minute that rescues them. And he laughed and said, we all know it's true. And the funny part was, guess what happened? Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said before a Villa game, he said before the Villa game, he was telling us that he hopes the ref does his job and they get what they deserve. He made it clear that he thinks Klopp's fault that they don't get more. Okay. Now, I actually looked at not Saturday's, but the previous 8 penalty shouts of Manchester United's. Okay. So I looked at them and sort of checked them out. And out of the 8, there were 5 given and 3 not given. This was from last season. The 8, yeah. So 5 given, 3 not given. Solskjaer thought those 3 should have been given. So I checked them out, and I worked on the process of the way they're given today and what is soft and what would be or what wouldn't be given today. And I reckon that out of the 5 given, he should have only had 4 given. 1 was not a penalty. Okay. So I reckon he got an extra one. But out of the 3 that he says should have been, I think 2 of them should have been. So I'm being really fair here.
You're giving them more, yeah.
Yeah. So out of the 8 penalties he was given 5 penalties he was given out of the 8 penalty situations, I probably would have given him 6 instead of 5.
Mm.
So
maybe Solskjaer will use this clip as proof.
Yeah. But he doesn't. But I was just sort of interested. But remember, Solskjaer was jumping up and down about all of it, everything. He got given one that wasn't, and he, The
thing is, he talks far too much about penalties, doesn't he? Like at the end of the day,
so many. That's why
I know penalties kind of like obviously they do indicate what happens in a match, but at the end of the day, it's like you should be more talking about your team and what's actually happened in the football and what football your team has played, as opposed to whether you should have had a penalty or not, and then use that as the reason that you've lost.
And then
just say you were crap,
and then miss.
And then you missed.
Yeah. Do you want to discuss how bad that penalty was?
It's just flown past my window, mate.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I just like the fact that Martinez, before the penalty, pointed at Ronaldo and said that Ronaldo should take it. And then completely got in Fernandez's head, I imagine. Did you see the penalty?
I did, yeah. It was about 20 foot above the bar, was it?
Yeah, wasn't it such a weird run-up?
He always has a weird run-up, though. I've never understood why they do that.
It was kind of like, it was because either you do it at quite a tight angle or near enough straight on. His was kind of like somewhere in the middle, and he kind of just whacked it and didn't know where it was going to go. It was a rubbish penalty. I could have scored.
Very strange.
Yeah.
So who takes the next one?
Oh, it's going to give it to Ronaldo, surely. Surely you give it to Ronaldo. Ronaldo's been known for scoring about 10 million penalties. so's Fernandez, I suppose. So.
Well, Fernandez is the captain. So
Is he?
He was.
Where's
Well, I suppose
Maguire?
Maguire went off, didn't he? Injured.
Oh, did he? Fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now, not last, but I want to talk about the 100 Club because Mane is in the 100 Club, isn't he?
He is now, yeah.
Salah's in the 100 Club, isn't he? And it's Sterling made it. Yeah. Okay. The interesting thing about these three is they're not as such out and out strikers, are they?
No.
And that's what's strange about these three getting in. It's a bit like Gerrard getting in there as a midfielder, really. Is sort of that's what makes these guys impressive. These aren't new. They're a new position to get in the 100 Club, which is wide forwards is what they are, aren't they? Wide strikers coming in at angles.
Not wingers, no.
Right. Well, Salah has the third best. Here we go into the boring figures, okay? But his is 0.71 goals per 90. Okay, that's his goal rate.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what his miss rate is, judging by yesterday. There's only two that have been better than Salah, and that was Bale and Aguero. But the plus about Salah is he's only actually missed 7 games, unlike Aguero, who missed hundreds.
Yeah,
that's not bad, is it? That is Mr. Reliable.
The bloke stays fit.
He stays fit. He's really bothered about his fitness, his work rate, and he's constantly, year in, year out, that 0.7 hasn't really budged.
No.
That means he might miss a ton, but you know he's going to score every 0.7.
Yeah. He scores every game and you don't even think about it now, doesn't he?
That's right. He in fact had that win rate, had that score rate, even at Roma when he played in a counter-attacking football. I mean, they didn't play Liverpool style. No. And he still had that score rate, which is incredible, really. So what's his trademark then, Kieran? I mean, how can you spot a Salah goal without actually seeing who hits it?
Isn't it darts from the right-hand sides into the right-hand side of the box? Yeah. I'd argue similar to yesterday.
He's only actually scored 6 from outside the box.
Yeah.
That is pretty impressive. Impressive. I mean, that sort of stands out what he does, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a De Bruyne in any form or fashion.
No, he's a poacher, isn't he?
I mean, they're tight goals, aren't they? In tight places. All on the right foot.
Left
foot. Sorry, yes. Here we go. He's in the last 4 seasons. He's scored 5 on his right foot in one season, 4 on his foot with his right foot, 2, and then 1. He's actually scoring less and less on his right foot. So he's only scored 12 goals on his right foot, all the left. So you'd think defenders by now, I mean, you can spot a Salah goal. You know what he's going to do. It's the same every time. He gets the ball on the right-hand side with his left foot and he comes into the box. You know he's coming into the box and he's going to move across that box in front of goal and hit it with his left foot. Why can't anybody deal with him?
I think, to say it in a quite American and wet way, there's a quote from, I think it's Iron Robin. I am more afraid of the person who has practiced the same thing 1,000 times than a person who has practiced 1,000 things one time. There you go.
Very interesting. Very good.
That's my quote for the
day. He also has this other bit that makes him stand out, and that is, I wrote this before yesterday's game.
Yeah.
And that usually has one shot woefully wrong. How many did he have yesterday? One or two? He had one for sure.
It was the one that should have finished off the game. Yeah. This is why Liverpool fans have a bit of a love-hate relationship with him. It's like we love him because he scores all the flipping time, but then he did that stupid chip later on, and it's like could have won the game, Mo.
I wrote this. I think on Thursday, and put usually has one shot woefully wrong. And guess what happened on Saturday? So he has on average 3.9 shots per game, and 0.7 go in. And that is why Mane gets pissed off with him. Because out of those 3.9, the chances of those going in aren't always that high, and Mane stands and watches.
Yeah.
It isn't the same the other way round. Mane actually has a better pass rate to him than the other way round.
But Salah has more assists to Mane, which is interesting.
Yes, it is. Okay, let's Mane. Salzburg to Southampton. First played as a number 10. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. He used to be on the right-hand side, but he was moved to left when Salah turned up.
Doing the right to begin with. That's interesting.
So there you go. So that means he can actually come in from both sides. He's used to playing both sides. Mm-hmm. So, and he also, I think at Salzburg, he was the number 10. So he was sat in the middle. He's used to playing across that whole wide area. He's not a left, right, or middle. He is any. So he scored at the 100, 27 goals from his weaker foot.
Yeah.
Not bad, is it?
It's barely even weak, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It's not that weak, is it?
But, and 17% have been headers, whereas Salah's is only 5%. So we can see the difference in strikers. And the thing he can do is he can turn either way, left or right. And that's what beats the defence, is they never know whether he's turning left or right. He can go anywhere. Salah, you know where he's going. Mane, you don't know where he's going.
This is agility and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I don't think he's a better striker. I think he's a better all-round footballer, which is where his 100 goals come from. Whereas I think Salah is a better poacher, a better goal scorer, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
What happened last year then to Mane? He ended up actually going to a psychologist. And they looked at all the chances and everything, and they couldn't separate them from the ones that went in. They were all exactly expected goals, similar. His shots were as good as, nothing was different. The only difference was the goalkeeper got a hand to it when they didn't the year before. He didn't get weaker as a player. He didn't miss more. They just didn't go in the net.
It's interesting. It's not like goalkeepers have got outstandingly better. It's just in that moment. Just
luck. It came down to luck in the end. And he was unlucky for a while. And he had to make sure that luck thing didn't bog him down.
I think he probably did though, didn't it? Because he even admitted at the end of the season it was his worst season ever.
But that's why he started to do a psychologist to make sure it didn't, because in the end he wasn't a worse player, wasn't taking worse shots, nothing was different.
No.
Other than they weren't going in the net. And I think that's interesting because as a football supporter, you can criticise, and it's just the way it was, really.
Well, I mean, we definitely would have said that Mane's been worse that season, wouldn't we?
Automatically, you just think of that. But a bit unfair, really.
Yeah.
Now we come to the last one. Sterling. For 4 full seasons, he's scoring at 0.37 goals per 90. And remember, Salah's is double.
Yeah.
Okay. A third of those are in the 6-yard box. Amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
How do you even get in there?
I mean, that's amazing. Look at the difference between those 3 players. They are so different, aren't they? Could he play at wing back is the question.
Wing back?
Yeah, you think, because I'm asking that because his expected goals have doubled over the time since he left Liverpool. Okay. But he dribbles less than he did as well. Doesn't take players on like he used to. But I just wondered whether he'd be a decent wing back. What's the difference? If you think of him and Trent Alexander-Arnold, okay,
but it's crossing ability, isn't it? In their sense.
I wonder what his crossing is like.
Something tells me not great, but then Trent's was awful yesterday, wasn't it?
The reason I ask is because he does no longer get in that City team. He's only started 2 games this season in the league.
I think it's been quite interesting because Pep has not been afraid to literally just throw Grealish in, has he? Because he is Grealish aside effectively every game. The only one he didn't start was against us. Wonder why. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, he stuck Mahrez in there as well.
Mahrez. Well, he likes to have the right foot on the left and the left foot on the right, doesn't he?
But Sterling is no longer favourite. In fact, they reckon that he would have been happy to leave in the summer.
Yeah, but where to?
Well, here you go. Here's your problem, isn't it? Where does he go?
I'm not sure as if Liverpool supporters would want him back. Maybe as a player, like you'd be like, yeah, of course. But in terms of the way he left before and how Liverpool fans have treated him when he's ever City have come to Anfield, it's never been too great. So whether they'd be too happy. Any other big team? He's not going to United. Chelsea? I don't see why not. And then you've got to look abroad, and I suppose you could go anywhere. But I think by the end of next summer, he probably should go somewhere else. He's done everything he can at City, surely.
I think so.
Might as well go for a new challenge.
Well, he's got to, because I don't think he's going to get in that team anymore.
No.
I mean,
it's not that I don't think he's done anything wrong, particularly.
No. But that's sad. Then you think, we talked about Kane, Sterling. Who's the other one that never gets a game at United? That was in the England team. Sorry?
Oh, in the England team?
Yeah.
Oh, Lingard.
So all our great players aren't even playing on a Saturday.
No.
Well, Kane isn't playing, but that's his own choice. But he's on the football pitch, but he's not playing. So, yeah, I mean, we still talk about him, Sterling, as great. Wow, England, blah, blah, blah. But I tell you what, he's going to have to do something, He's going to have to move. I think by next summer he will not be in that team anymore. He will
But
move.
it's not like Pep can just say, "Oh yeah, I'll leave my £100 million player on the bench." Can't really do that. Hence why Ollie has the problem of not being able to sub off Cristiano or not start him. Cavani's not going to get a game this season.
No, absolutely mad. Well, maybe he's a sort of forward City could do with. Actually, better than Kane would be.
Yep.
He'd be more useful to them. They want a central number 9 who's going to be there in the box.
I don't know whether you've seen like the general like sofa score ratings of what they give to players. Yeah, Kane's wasn't high.
Was he not?
I saw a few threes get thrown about.
I know we keep going on about him, but I think it's because what irritates me about him is everybody else just takes it that he's brilliant. And I've not seen it.
Not in a while, no. I think we saw it definitely last season.
Year and a half.
I don't know. He was top scorer in the Premier League last season. But for England, we definitely didn't see it. And this season, he looks like he should be playing for Beaconsfield kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, that's my lot. All on my list of things. You got anything you'd like to add? Pick a couple of games, maybe. Let's start with Brentford at home.
Evidently, obviously, I watched it. Our goals were good. We controlled the game pretty much, but Brentford's had a plan, and their plan worked perfectly.
Ivan Toney.
Oh, he was excellent.
He is good.
He was really good.
Peterborough. If only Peterborough could have kept hold of him.
Yeah, he was really good. But Brentford's plan was to crowd out the back stick of the box so that it was 3 big lads.
Yeah.
Against Trent.
Yeah.
Trent had no chance.
Not a hope.
We evidently didn't catch on to it and stick like Matip there with him. And got caught out definitely twice, arguably the first one as well. So it was disappointing. It was probably a missed chance to go 2 or 3 points clear at the top. But it's we still haven't lost, which obviously is a positive. And yeah, Brentford is definitely going to be a slippery one for a lot of teams.
I think so, and
especially with those fans like flipping egg. I was just watching on my phone, and you could tell, like it was the atmosphere there would have been mad.
I think that the plus, it wasn't I wanted Liverpool to lose. I just didn't want Brentford to lose either. I love Brentford. I kept on about Brentford last season. And they were my favourites. And I love the style of football. And actually, they're not so different to Liverpool, are they? Isn't that what created the problems?
Not in terms of like
teams were just full on and both playing a high line where the ball just goes down the middle through. If it went through the midfield, which were really close to the forwards, it's there. Off we go, and it was just running backwards and forwards.
I think that was probably the disappointing thing in that there were so many times where Liverpool maybe had like a 3-on-3 just bound down to their goal, and you're like, gotta make a few more of these count sort of thing. But no, in terms of like Brentford's kind of character and their kind of like motivation to try and get into the game, they were second to none, really. It's good that we got away with a 3-all, really.
You see, that's where I think teams like Everton stand more chance of beating Brentford 1-0.
Because Brentford won't be up for it as much.
No, it's because I don't think Brentford will break through because Everton will have the players behind the ball, except for one or two. Whereas Liverpool forever had 10 players the other side of the ball. And that was the problem. If you play a high line like that, where your forwards are actually up in the corner near their goal, it was just a mad game. A brilliant game. I mean, exciting. I mean, great
game of the season,
match of the day, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, what happened with Leeds last year? Well, that was 3-3.
Well, 4-3, yeah.
Yeah, similar game.
Yeah.
Playing these teams, the decent ones that come up, the ones that aren't scared, the ones that are up there for we're having a bloody good time. We haven't played Liverpool for ages.
Not Norwich, per se.
Not Norwich, no. Farker for sale. Right.
Yeah.
Any other games?
I haven't watched the highlights or seen it, but Arsenal beating Spurs 3-1's quite funny.
Right. Well, the third goal. Watch Arsenal's third goal.
I can literally watch it right now.
Start with Spurs on the ball. That's the trouble.
Oh, will that be in the highlights though?
I don't know. I hope so. You see where Arsenal picked the ball up?
Yes, I've just seen them lose the ball. Oh, it's Kane. Is it Kane who loses the ball?
He falls over.
He does.
Yeah.
And then he ends up being in the centre back position. How's he managed that?
The thing is, he loses the ball in midfield.
And then makes the tackle, but isn't enough.
Because the centre forward. Yeah, I know. Shocker, isn't it? Yeah, Arsenal. What happened? Well, they won their 2 games 1-0 beforehand.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying, it's only 1-0. 1-0, it's 3 points. It's not 1-0, it's 3 points. And then you add the emotion and take the fear out of you going in. You've won your last 2 games. Who cares when it's 1-0? I'm quite happy winning 1-0.
Because you look at that Arsenal team that started, and it's got Partey from Atletico in the midfield. It's got Smith Rowe, Saka, Saka, and then someone else on the other side that I can't remember, and then Aubameyang out front. It's a good team. It is a good team, and I think they'll do better than some people were making out after the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah. That's given them a bit of a boost, and they'll all be saying that on TV tonight. They'll all be saying, having just said, can't see them, they're going to be fighting relegation. They'll all be saying, they'll be top 6, no question. They'll be in Europe now. They've got it all together now. They've got what a great job he's doing there.
I said 3 weeks ago, I think they'll be all right, and yet here I am saying it now.
Yeah. It'd be load of crap, of course, because we do know that they'll go and lose again next week.
Yes.
So, any other games in particular? Chelsea. What happened to Chelsea?
They lost to Man City.
I know, but
I didn't. I think Chelsea were rubbish.
Yeah.
Based off the stats, I think didn't City have about 25 shots and Chelsea had 3?
That's it,
or something. Which I think suggests that I was right in what I said about Chelsea not being the complete package yet. I still don't think they are.
No.
But losing to Man City 1-0 is not horrendous. But if you're at home and you only have 3 shots against one of your big rivals, then that's not boding well.
No.
And they had a full strength team out, so there was really no excuses. Maybe just Tuchel got it wrong on the day. Who knows? But I'm not.
Well, here we go with this ridiculous conversation of the 2 best minds in football battle it out on a football pitch, and I'm thinking, oh God, it's not. It's a bit over pushing it, really. Bloody mastermind, is it really? University challenge. I think sometimes, and they talk about him, Pep overthinking things. A bit irritating, really. Okay, on that, are we going to call that a day then?
It is 9:05. I think we've been here for about an hour and a half, maybe even more. So I think we probably should.
Have we really? Should I split it?
Into what? Once 2 parts?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
You
dear.
can if you like.
Oh, dear.
At the end of the day, this is just me and you talk about football. We're not caring about what other people are seeing. Or are we? I don't know.
Well, nobody gets here.
No, I don't know.
Can I just say, guys, if anybody has reached this point, okay, seriously, if you've reached this point, just put a yet or a yes up. It'd be fascinating to see how many actually get to the end of this program.
Yeah.
Thank you. And with that, we'll say good night. Oh my God, good night, in fact.
Good night.
Oh no.
Bedtime, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.